That's huge, and it's not a slight at, any of our starters, Monte. I kind of like the way that group was playing. DeLon was defending at a high level with his size, his athleticism, his length, getting deflections. You feel a little bit more comfortable about switching, as far as on the glass and in the post. But Will, he'd love to be a starter, and as long as we're winning, I think he's in a good place. I think he loves to hoop, and his ability to play make for himself, to get going and get hot, is an added weapon off the bench. And I told him it doesn't matter who starts and who's going to finish. And so that balance of D. Wright, Will as a scorer the other night was good for us.
Do you have a defensive five unit?
Yeah, and it's a mix, honestly. And I've said this before, the matchups will determine often how that shakes out, and then the flow of the game. Whatever's needed in that moment. We have the benefit of playing offense, defense, dead balls, substitutions, but there's a lot of guys that I trust.
Was the number of threes that Indiana attempted concern you?
No, not the number overall attempts. The 15 makes, yes. A lot of those were, not a lot. Several of them were late in the game. We're up 11 with a minute 54, and all of a sudden 10-2 run. It's a ball game. A missed free throw box out. They have an opportunity for a timely score from Halliburton would have tied the game. So put ourselves in that situation is not ideal. Understanding the urgency and the time and score in that situation. The one thing that teams need to do in that scenario is to make threes. So in transition, push up, take them off the three-point line, and make them play inside.
Did you guys do a good enough job overall running the Pacers off the three-point line?
Decent job. We didn't go into that game saying anyone was a quote-unquote runoff. That doesn't mean you give up their shots. Certainly doesn't mean you give up uncontested shots. But when the guys get going and late in the game, teams trying to crawl back into it, you have to be aware of the three-point threat.
Defensively, going back to that fourth quarter, obviously matchups dictated, as you mentioned, but just looking at the five that you had on, with the exception of obviously then because of the injury, are you confident that against the team, especially with the guy in DeMar, essentially in this fourth quarter, we saw what he did last season to us?
I prefer not to remember that, but yeah, thanks.
But are you confident in putting five guys out there that are willing to defend and buy in on that end, especially late in a game?
Well, yeah, obviously you got to score too, and this is a high octane offense. In the preseason, averaged close to 123 points a game. I think second, in offensive rating, first in effective field goal percentage. So it's not just DeMar, but he is the head of the snake right now. Had a big night in Miami. Scored 37, got to the line 11 times. So being able to give him different looks, take away the easy ones, at times heat him up. Just can't allow him to play with a degree of comfort. I think when you do that, he's just too good.
West, one thing that stood out last game was the effectiveness of Porzingis and Bradley Beal in the two-man game. How much of that is a priority going forward?
Oh, it's huge. Honestly, they'll play off each other exceptionally well. The pick and pop, Brad downhill, KP as a roller, but also spacing the floor. Just a two-man game, to your point, just pass and cut. The gravity of having to guard a shooting big who can also pass, the amount of space behind that. That allows Brad, but also, the other three guys. It's unusual to have that dynamic, and certainly we're happy to, and it plays in our favor.
Was building habits is not linear, I know, but how do you measure kind of progress compared to where you want to be at a different point in the season?
I think there are a lot of layers to that. I think we're still in the beginning stages as far as how I'd prefer it to be. I'm probably a little greedy, but I certainly think we're much further along than we were obviously this time last year.
What shows you that?
Well, just the level of connection. I think there's just a comfortability with guys who've been through the system a bit. You call it corporate knowledge. They've done it. They've had it. So it's a little easier. And I think that allows a little bit more buy-in. The communication piece is better. Not great, but it's better. Same starters. Good. All right. Thank you.
Wes, what do you think made the difference for you guys tonight?
I think we just we stuck with it. You know, it's one of those things where that game could have easily gotten away from us. You know, you felt like they had a bit of a momentum. You know, and it's tough. You know, we talked about defending without fouling. They had 15 free throws in the fourth, and you know, it was an area of concentration that just got to be careful. We know going in, DeRozan's going to get to the line, and he got there 11 times. So being able to control, be aggressive with him, but do it without fouling, I think is a big key. But the fact that we were able to weather that, you know, it's a good sign to see that us not let go. You know, play after play, offensively, defensively, somebody made a play.
What have you liked about Kuzma on offense so far?
You know what? I think he struggled in the preseason, but I think he's found his rhythm. You know, I think he's taking the right types of threes. He's aggressive with it, but he's letting the game come to him. And I think reading the flow, playing downhill at times, but also just when the ball finds him in rhythm, he's ready to shoot it and lets it fly.
Wes, was that just getting time and kind of getting games under his belt?
That's probably a question for him, but
Oh,
okay. No, I'm either way. It's a good sign to see that, you know, finally getting a rhythm. So I like where he is. You know, the mix of drives, the threes, playmaking. But you know, we just have to continue with it.
You obviously like DeLon in that closing group. I think he had a really big defensive rebound, maybe after a KP thing there at the end. But how crucial is he just to be able to have at a quarter, especially tonight when you guys held on at the end of, I think, a couple different periods?
Yeah. Well, I think it's important. We talked about what the flow requires late in the game. You know, it allows us to play offense, defense. I thought Monte was good. He made some big plays for us. And then, you know, if you need more size on the ball. If we're switching late, you know, you got a guy with a little bit more size and length who can do that.
The assist number is 26 tonight, on par with last year's numbers. What did you like about how the ball was getting side to side?
Oh, I love it. I love it. The fact that, you know, 26 assists and 41 field goals. So, you know, that's an area that it's really important to the way we play. It leads into overall efficiency and the willingness that our guys have shown to buy into that. And, you know, I got to highlight Brad, you know, because time and time again, we're putting the ball in his hands for a reason. He's going to make the right play. And he did it tonight. And it's something we've seen throughout the preseason where he's made plays and guys didn't necessarily make the shot. So I understand, you know, there's sometimes it's natural to feel some frustration, but he's not leaning into that. He's going to continue to make the right play, and it's really helping us.
And Gill and not Gafford at the end, what went into that decision defensively?
Well, I mean, I was concerned about the rebounding. So, you know, and obviously if they went direct post to Vooch, he's a problem down there. But it gave us a little more flexibility to switch. And if we had to, you know, blitz and rotate or hit DeRozan, it gives us a little bit more mobility to get out, you know, to those 3-point shooters.
Hey, Wes, how are you? 2 games in now, 2 big leads. Had to fight to keep the lead in Indiana. This time, you know, they came back and prevailed. But out of that short sample size, what have you learned from this team?
A little bit of resilience. You know, it's never going to go 100% perfect. It's okay to win ugly. You know, it's hard to win this league, and we can learn from a game like Indiana, where you have a comfortable margin. You know, this team is going to just stick with it. They are a potent offensive team. The fact that they do get to the line stops the clock, gives them points, and allows them to set their defense. So that offsets a little bit. So a subtle difference between the other night, where there's more transition turnovers and quick threes. You know, yes, we have to do a better job without fouling. That would help, but they have a lot of offensive weapons. So you know that it's going to be a grind out game. The fact that we're able to come out on top in these type of situations, it's growth, it's learning, and the more comfort we have, you know, with a little bit of adversity, I think it's going to help us, you know, down the road.
What did you like so far in terms of the chemistry between Brad and Kyle and KP, and maybe what do you think they can improve on in that area as well?
Well, I think it's going to take on a life of its own. It's going to continue to mature, and you'll see more synergy. You know, it's still just a small sample size with them together. More comfortability with, you know, how each other play, where each guy wants their shots, you know, what plays to run to get guys to their spots. All of that, you know, there's a little bit of a learning curve. So I like where they are, and the fact that they're just willing to kind of play and figure it out, conceptually play within the framework that we have. And I think it'll take some time, but I think it'll continue to improve.
Coach, when you look at Denny on defense and the impact he had, especially guarding DeRozan, DeRozan had a lot of points, but there were a number of times where he tried to get Denny with his pump fake. Denny stayed down. He also closed 10 possessions with defensive rebounds. What did you think about his impact on the defensive end of the floor?
Underrated. I think it's one thing when you look at the box score and the guy's got 32, it's just like, man. But to your point, he did some good things. It's growth for him not to bail guys out with fouls. And I get he got rejected a couple times, away from the screen, but he was mindful of showing his hands, trying to stay down on pump fakes. And to your point, the rebounding. It's been an issue for us, through the preseason and the other night. It wasn't great tonight, but down the stretch, that's winning basketball. Denny makes, those type plays. Brad makes a heck of a play, chase down block. Those are the winning plays that, the block shows up, but you don't get the full measure of what those type plays mean and how it can change the balance of a game.
Did you consider challenging Porzingis' sixth foul?
I did, but I was concerned. I just needed to hold on to it. It's those late possessions, and they can happen as the last possession. You have it in your back pocket. That I think it's a tough one, but I wanted to hold on to it.
Is the goaltend on Barton in the first half, is that even a challengeable play?
Well, yeah, I mean,
but same thing.
Well, if they have to call it, they have to call it for me to challenge it. But if they don't call it, then I can't.
And then you had Beal and not Denny guarding DeRozan late. What was the intuition?
To Brad's credit, he has to guard him. So that says a lot. When the guys that you're playing through, that you're running your offense through is willing to step up, and it's not certainly for the lack of effort on anyone else's part. But he accepts the challenge and wants that matchup. I think that's great.
Wes, I know getting the win is the most important thing, but how gratifying and maybe how important is it that Brad had that go-ahead shot just for his confidence or the team's confidence in him?
Whether it went in or not, I'm going to go back to him. So I don't think he needs a boost in confidence. If he does, I'm saying it right now, I'm going to go back to him. So it's good that he came away with it. I actually thought he got fouled on the play. But the fact that he was willing to play downhill all night, it's a lot. He didn't settle, which I think is important.
Last question for you.
Wes, did you feel like there were times tonight where even against Vooch and DeRozan and those guys, that offense was your best defense?
I will never say that, but you could argue. And I think you have to have that balance. I mean, you're not going to shut a team out. You have to score. They're really aggressive, physical team. And, we had stretches of turnovers, but, late, at least we were getting shots to the rim. Didn't necessarily get the payoff, but we were able to control the ball and make sure we got possessions up. And these type of situations, that's the most important thing.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Proud to be behind him, but locker room. Thank you.
Oh. Man, it's so good to see y'all, man. Man. I said now, right?
Drummond is a very big dude. Take us to the dunk.
Did I dunk on him though? I don't know. I didn't feel anything. I don't really count dunks unless you like his body or something. But I just saw like a weaker defender close out and I just didn't want to settle and exploded. So
Wes talked about how you really found your rhythm even in these just past two games. How have you felt different? Have you noticed feeling just a little bit more in sync?
Well, I mean, I just took my time during preseason. I really just tried to sit back and, I've been in the league long enough where, I can turn it on and off and I can just figure out and see, because we have a new team and being able to see how other players play and see how I fit in and then, just try to, overview from preseason and just attack the regular season. And, I'm just trying to do my role. That's it. Play defense, rebound, and make shots. It's real simple.
What did you think about the shot Brad hit at the end?
I mean, it was big time. It was definitely big time. And, he was a little frustrated tonight, but he did a phenomenal job of just keeping his head and just staying into it. And he's going to have the ball in his hands every night. In the game for a quarter, that's what we want. He's our best player. So just put the ball in your best player's hand and make him make a play. And all preseason training camp and even these 2 regular season games, he's done a great job of being a scorer, but just making the right play at the right time. And, it's really good to see.
Hey, Kyle, how are you? As you just said, new team, but is it a little bit surprising to you that 2 games in now, you guys have been cohesive and locked in enough to be able to withstand the other teams, come back and still come out with a win?
Well, I mean, this was a big step for us tonight. I think we pooped the bed a little bit in Indiana. We still won, but it was an ugly win. And for us, didn't really get enough stops, coming down the stretch, but then we got the right stops at the right time, just being resilient. Brad made a hell of a shot. AG came in when KP fouled out, got a stop when we really needed it at the end with DeMar. And, that's what it is. That's what it boils down to, just getting stops at the right time, timing possessions, and you can win like that.
What, if anything, went through your mind when DeMar's shot went up?
Last year, I was just like, this is going to happen again. It's going to happen again. And it didn't. But it rimmed out, though. It was close. And thank God.
What did you like about the flow of offense? 26 assists on 41 made bucket.
I mean, we're all just playing the right way. We have a veteran team. We have a team that we all like each other. And, that's the biggest thing. You can tell we like each other. Everybody's moving the ball, playing for each other. We hold each other accountable. We may scream at each other, but it's not a barking match. And it's all coming from a right place of love and understanding that we all have the same agenda, trying to win. And that's what we've been doing all preseason, all camp. And, I just hope we can continue to keep that mentality.
Hey, Kuz. I know you said at the end of the game with the Glenn concert, but how does it feel, of course, home opener, in a sold-out crowd back in DC?
I mean, I just hope it's sold out when we come back from Cleveland. I think this is the year we have a pretty solid team, partly just because we like each other. Last year, I couldn't say that because at the start, obviously we started 10-3, but I couldn't say that. But this year, when you play for each other, you're going to give yourself a chance every single night. And we demand that of each other. And, it's just really fun playing with this ball club.
Through 2 games, how's the chemistry been between yourself, KP, and Brad? What's been good about it? What can maybe improve moving forward?
I think it's damn good right now. And, we haven't really had opportunities to really play too much together. If you look back last year, it was me and Brad for a little bit. He got hurt. Then it was me and KP for 7-8 games. Then I got hurt. And then if you look at preseason, Brad didn't play that much in preseason. KP, here and there. But, we just all know how to play basketball. That's what it boils down to. Brad is going to make the right play. KP's going to make the right play. I'm going to make the right play. And we're all going to be aggressive at the same time. And, I always say it, we've all been in situations where we've had to play off ball to better players, whether that's John Wall, Luka, or me, AD, and Bron. So when we have the ball, we understand and know how to play off the ball. And it's really fun. And we have a good connection right now.
Kuz, I think before you checked in the fourth quarter, you were trying to coach up AG when you were on the sideline. I guess, is that just more of a role that you're trying to take on this season?
No, I'm just trying to win the game. I think what was the possession? Yeah, Rui had the ball, and then he had Alex Caruso on him, one of the top defenders in the NBA, and I just tell him stop slipping screens, get the switch, so Rui can have an easier job. But I'm just trying to win, and whatever help that is, it helps. So.
Just a quick question for you, Kuz. Just some of the positives you took away from tonight's game.
Our resiliency, I think that was the biggest thing. We didn't hold our heads down when they made their run in the fourth, and we didn't really get scores. Had a couple rough possessions, didn't get too many stops, but we held strong, held our ground. Obviously, Brad made a huge play, and the whole game we were positive. We had to lead most of the game, but we were just positive. Every time out, positive. Hold your heads. It's okay. Keep the storm going. And you know, that was much different from last year, and it was good. It's being positive.
We've seen you bring the ball up and initiate the offense a few times. Is that something that's kind of been new to you, or did you do that previously in your career in LA?
Never did in LA. Obviously, we had great players, so that wasn't my calling. But you know, I have that ability. I can get a rebound and push. I can orchestrate things. You know, I'm you know, have a high enough IQ to understand who needs the ball in situations and what we kind of need. You know, I'm not going to do it every time because we have great players and we have point guards, but from time to time, if it calls for it, it calls for it. Yeah.
Yes. You need his number? You need Ben's number? I do, yeah. It's Andrew. Andrew? I certainly have sent him a check. I don't have any guys in my list.
Don't need too much. This is all story. Yeah, they can have that. Yeah.
But I mean, just coach kept me in the middle of the floor. I told myself I'm going to get a shot up and I'm going to make the shot. I mean, that was more or less what it was, just being locked into the moment, staying engaged in the game. It's a great screen. I just made a good read and try to get the best shot possible. So.
It seemed like you were pretty pumped after one of your baskets in the fourth, and Kuz kind of mentioned how maybe you were frustrated before that. That was a breakthrough. Is that what that moment was for you?
No, not really. It was just kind of getting going. Like offensively, I was just more or less penetrating. They were doubling a lot, so I was just constantly just making the right reads, making the right play. And the ball just found me in a nice little moment of the game. I was just excited for the shot. So it definitely kind of got me going a little bit, but it wasn't nothing more than that.
What did you like about the offensive flow tonight? 26 assists on 41 shots.
I mean, just looking again, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys again in double figures. So, what was it? Well, my math is off. Four. But I mean, that's a testament to us, man. We're just doing a good job moving the ball, being aggressive, make smart plays with it, and damn, 5 turnovers. That's terrible. But we're doing a good job just moving the ball, sharing it. Who's ever open, shoot it. That's our mentality. You know, we trust everybody to make plays and be smart with the ball.
What kind of reads did you feel that you got tonight with the 8 assists?
Just finding guys. You know, they do a good job of doubling, of showing bodies, helping in the paint. You know, so I'm going to trust my teammates to make the shot, make the extra pass, make the read, and if it's a hockey assist, it's a hockey assist. But you know, it's not all on me to just score. You know, so you know, I've embraced the role of creating for my teammates and trusting them to make the right shot and the right play as well.
2 things, Brad. What did you think when you saw DeRozan go up at the last?
I thought it was cash. I ain't gonna lie to you. That was a great look. You know, Devo don't shoot many threes, but when he do, ironically, they went in and he hit us with one last year, 2 in the corner, right? So, I mean, he seems to love DC, you know. No, but it was a good look, good defense by AG, and tough shot. You know, contested, make him miss, but it was a little nervous for a minute, yeah, for sure.
Other thing, being around you guys the last few days, I keep hearing the same thing, that you guys like each other this year. Kuz even said that wasn't the case last year. And I just wondered, not so much what happened last year, but what's different when guys actually do kind of like each other?
That's a little extra. I think it's a little steep. We liked each other last year too. It was just we had guys who all buy into what Wes wants. You know, it's not a lot of drawn back, not a lot of kind of pushback on what we want. It's, you know, getting what he wants done first, and if we need to make adjustments later. You know, we're not questioning his I guess methods in a way. You know, we're all accepting the criticism, 1 through 15, and I think that's the biggest thing about it, man, is, you know, it's just pure joy that we're out there and we have a chance to make this team something that we can build it into. You know, I think everybody's bought into that. And I think that's been the beauty of it for sure.
Through 2 games, what's the chemistry been like between yourself and Kuz and KP, and what's been good and maybe what can you guys improve on?
Oh, everything is up for improvement. You know, nothing is perfect. You know, we're still figuring each other out. We're still figuring out our spots, and, you know, I'm still learning KP where he wants the ball. Kuz is going to be Kuz. Kuz is super aggressive from start to finish. You know, we need him like that. And I always tell him he's at his best version when he's getting downhill, attacking the basket. You know, then obviously when he's locked in, his 3-point shot is cash. So, you know, constantly figuring out that dynamic with KP. He does a great job of rolling and popping, mixing in them both. You know, and we're still a work in progress. You know, obviously we do a good job of sharing it, shooting it, knocking down shots, but like I said, everything can be better for sure.
Out of the last 2 games, you guys had big leads. Other team came back, but you still held on 2-0. It says a lot about resiliency. So what have you learned about your teammates in that short amount of time?
I guess what you just said, we're resilient. You know, we take pride in who we are and getting stops. You know, that's what's going to win us games. You know, we can't win games without getting stops. And sometimes, I mean, we respect everybody. Everybody's a pro. You know, the last 2 games we played, Indiana has good guys, and Chicago for damn sure has pros and good guys on their team too. So you respect that, you know, but we don't back down. We don't give in to their runs. We know that's a part of the game. We're going to run too. But, you know, it speaks volumes. You know, a lot of vets we have, a lot of guys who've been in winning situations. You know, they come in, know what to do, know what to expect, and, you know, we stay poised when runs are made and make the right plays down the stretch. And that's all we can do.
Brad, at what point in the game did you request to Wes to guard DeMar?
I think when Denny got the last foul, I think he rejected the screen on Denny. They called a foul on going baseline, and I was like, just let me guard him. Let me give him a different look, mess with the ball, jab at the ball, tap his elbow without the ref looking, doing some little stuff that I can get away with because they were really a little whistle happy down there. But DeMar's aggressive. He's always going to look to play through hands and play through contact. So, you know, I study DeMar. I love his game, and I won't say I knew what was coming, but I can get a feel of what he liked and, you know, what move he was going to go to. Not saying I was going to stop him, but I was going to make it a lot tougher for sure. I was going to make him work. So that was just my whole game plan, I guess. Yeah.
We've talked about this before, but I think 4th time in the past 4 years you've been held without a free throw attempt. That second to last bucket seemed like you deserved one.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can do to try and voice your case?
I mean, we only shot 11 free throws, so they're 33. I'm gonna leave it at that. That's all I'm gonna say. And Beal shot none. that's BS.
Brad, yeah, that 11 free throw, you did shoot 90% from the free throw. But my question was, what are your major adjustments now that you're not expected to hit 28, 30 points a game? So what are the major adjustments in your game?
I mean, don't get it twisted. I'll still go off for 30, 40, and 50 if I need to. No, I'm not required to do that. You know, I don't have to do that. I have teammates who can score the ball, who can make plays too. We have a 7-3 guy who can shoot over anybody. So it's me trusting guys. That's literally all it is. You know, it's not me trying to do everything, trying to make every play. Obviously I'll be aggressive when I can, but for the most part, it's trusting my teammates, because when it comes down to the stretch, like the nitty-gritty, like it did tonight, I'm going to need Denny to step up and make a three, right? I'm going to need Kuz to step up and make plays, Porzingis to step up and make plays, everybody. So the more I continue to do that, the more confidence they get. So that's literally all I do. I know I can score with the best of them. I can score when I need to, but helping my teammates get buckets and easy ones is something I've embraced more and more this year, for sure.
Hi, Brad.
How you doing?
So what do you think was the turning point? Like in your eyes, what was the turning point in the game for you?
I wouldn't necessarily say it was a turning point. I feel like we were in good control pretty much the whole game. We got off to a really good start, good energy. And obviously you respect teams. Teams are going to make their runs, and we know how DeMar is. DeMar's been hot, coming off a 37-point night. And then no Zach, so he's going to be super aggressive in that regard. But they're a really good put together team. We came out, but we focused on us. We didn't get too riled up in the intro, the crazy night we had being the first game. Like, we were really locked in and understood that, we were going to win defensively. That was the only way we were going to win this game. And so I would say throughout the whole game, we just did a good job of staying in it, staying poised, not getting rattled, not breaking apart as a team. We stayed in it, stayed rattled. Stayed together through adversity and pulled off a great win.
So everyone's talking about that you guys like each other, right? How do you build that chemistry off the court? Like, talk to me about it. What happens in practice? What are the little things that maybe we don't know?
Japan helped. We were there for 5-6 days and really tight schedule, but it forced us to more or less be around each other. But I'll take it back even a little bit further. Coach required everybody to be here in DC after Labor Day. And I would say, so everything from the summer, us being in LA at mini camp to training camp to before training camp, reporting into DC, getting workout in, hanging out, playing pickup, like that builds that camaraderie, that builds those relationships. And then obviously hanging with guys outside the court, going to eat, hanging out, whatever it is, that builds it too. And it's just all a big carryover into the floor. So it's important. We need that. And me, the more and more it's crazy I look at it, it's like I'm the true vet. So I have to be at the forefront of a lot of that stuff and making sure that we're still all locked in and we're all tied together.
Hey, Brad, Kuz talked about every huddle was positives and just weather the storm. How was that just crucial for a team coming on the stretches, everybody just being positive going down?
It's important, man, because it's easy to kind of drift off when teams go on a run. You kind of like, damn, can we get a stop? Damn, we're gonna figure it out. But when you speak positivity and life into the team, that goes a long way. It boosts confidence. It gives us momentum. To go get a stop. Let's lock in. Let's do what we need to do, or let's get a bucket. Let's execute the right way. Whatever it is, I think those little hints, little words of, I guess, affirmation in some ways. Those things help. There you go. God damn.